Ladies and gentlemen, in most of your lifetimes as chess fans, there are certain guarantees in life. And one of those is the fact that Magnus Carlsen is at the top of the leaderboard. He's been the #1 ranked player since 2011. He's been undisputed best player in the world for a decade and a half. Some of you are old enough to remember the days of Kasparov. Some of you are old enough to remember the days of Fischer. But for most of us, we're just living in the Magnus era. And that era might be very quickly coming to an end because of one man in particular. And that is the man I'm covering in today's video. It's not Gukesh, who is playing for the World Championship at the time of recording this video in 3 weeks. It could be Arjun Erigaisi from India, because he is currently playing in the Chennai Grandmasters in India, and he's rated 2,809. Very few human beings have ever been at that elo. And if you look at the all-time rankings, I'm talking about Anand, I'm talking about Kasparov, Caruana, Levan Aronian. Arjun Erigaisi is currently in ultra elite territory, and he doesn't have a single sign of stopping, and he's barely even 20 years of age. He might be 21 or something like that, but he's terrifying. His brand of chess is terrifying. You know what else is terrifying? The fact that the GothamChess chessboards are nearly all sold out already. The second wave is coming on November 19th. So check your local Walmart, check Amazon. And for all of you that have been asking, Gotham, when will the chessboard be in Europe? When will the chessboard be in India? Looks like 2025 will be on the horizon. But if you're in the States, do check it out. December 13th, Chess League 2.0 is dropping. Folks, if you have Chess League Plus, by the way, you should check your inboxes. You will be getting a VIP ticket to check out Chess League 2.0. So if you've been a Chess League Plus subscriber, you got good things coming, all right? You will be taken care of. Folks, Chess League 2.0 is incredible. I can't wait to demo it on this channel. Now that you're done stocking up on the chessboard for the holidays, let's take a look at Arjun Erigaisi. His 3 opponents in this video are Vidit Gujrathi, Alexei Sarana, and Amin Tabatabai. From India, Russia, and Iran, although now Sarana represents Serbia. The other thing about Erigaisi, which makes him terrifying, is he plays chess to win. He doesn't play chess not to lose. The meta strategy of top grandmasters is play safe. Arjun Erigaisi by Magnus Carlsen was described as a madman. A madman. Let's see why. Okay, e4, c5. The game begins with a Sicilian defense against Vidit Gujrathi. And we get, one second, knight f3, e6. Playing the Taimanov Sicilian, which is a Sicilian on e6 based systems, is almost unheard of at 2750 plus. Like, the Taimanov Sicilian is a fascinating opening, but it's so high risk, it's not worth playing for most people. Not for Erigaisi, because he does what he wants. We have c4, which is a move, and now we have this variation, knight f6, knight c3, and bishop c5. Now, again, this could have arisen out of also d4, take, knight c6, c4. Doesn't particularly matter. This is the position from the opening. It has been played many, many times. And here, Erigaisi, rather than playing the immediate bishop to b4, which pins the knight, he plays bishop c5, attacking the knight. Vidit goes knight b3. By the way, look at Vidit's time spend. Look at Vidit's time spend. He spends 11 minutes on the 3rd move of the game. I mean, that doesn't even... And I think part of it is the fact that he just wasn't expecting this opening from Arjun. That is a big spending of time, shows a little bit of uncertainty. Bishop c5 forces the knight back. Now bishop b4. We have bishop d3, castles, and now the game is down to like just a handful of games. If you check the database, castles by white, and Arjun plays like this. So Arjun plays bishop c5, bishop b4. 3 moves of the opening are spent moving his bishop, and now the bishop is gone, and he's simply going to play d6 and play on the, on the structure of the position. Now, white is better here. You look at the engine, white is better. But Arjun's chess has been described as, for example, by Anish Giri, strong grandmaster, as he plays his brand of chess that is misunderstood by modern engines. And what that means is watching Erigaisi's games is impossible with the computer. Because the computer is basically like, well, white is always better, but Arjun keeps maximum amount of pieces on the board, maximum amount of pressure, and he plays like a human. And this third game that I'm going to show you today is really the greatest example of it. It's almost not worth watching his games with the computer because the computer sits there going, well, the engine says this and that, but humans are humans. So we have bishop a3 targeting the pawn. The rook slides out of the way of the diagonal. The rook improves to the center. Queen goes to c7. Defending d6 from the side, not straight down, and also putting some pressure here. You know, you have potential sniping over here. Knight d4, obviously trying to improve the pawn structure. Arjun doesn't do that. And from the opening, you know, Vidit does what he's, you know, he's doing typical positional things. Trying to play with his bishops, trying to target the weaknesses. He plays bishop c2 here, offering Arjun the pawn, because maybe he's going to win the pawn back. And Arjun's like, game on, bro. I don't get it. I mean, obviously I'm going to take. So queen takes d6, and now Arjun plays e5. Trying to bring out his light-scored bishop in the game before it's too late. White also does have certain weaknesses in the position. And he's forcing Vidit into a practical, difficult decision of giving him this. This is the type of chess that Erigaisi plays. Erigaisi plays roller coaster chess. He's down a pawn. He's up a pawn. He's also up 32 minutes on the clock, and yet he really is the one under the pressure. But Erigaisi, you know, Erigaisi might have a better career in poker. I mean, this guy's nervous system is unflappable, and he's got the best poker face of all time. I mean, trust me, there is way more money to be made being an excellent poker player. If you're 2,700 at poker, you make 20 million a year. You're 2,700 at chess, you make like, I don't know, $200,000 a year? Like, rook c1, queen a5, bishop b4. Now, Vidit, to his credit, is putting the pressure. I mean, this is excellent chess by Vidit. You see him utilizing his bishops. Most people here with black would go, oh, I've misplayed the position. Oh, I'm so passive. What am I doing? Erigaisi just keeps fighting. He's not dipping below 40 minutes. Rook c1. He trades it, and now he enters a pretty unpleasant pawn endgame where he is just worse. Erigaisi is just worse. His rook hasn't moved. The pawns are doubled. White has extreme activity, but white is down a little bit on time. And ultimately, the nervous system will kick in. b5, trying to save the pawn. Vidit plays a3, not the most accurate, allows a little bit too much counterplay. And now Arjun is like, hey, this side of the board is actually not that good for me. I'm going to give away the pawn to activate my rook. And this endgame is absolutely holdable for black. This is excellent technique from Erigaisi. And actually, it was Vidit who needed to be careful here. Instead of a3, he actually should have went h4, because then if this happens, you target this, and this is fine. This is completely fine. But we have rook a2, you know, and we're probably heading for a draw. And Erigaisi here is like, I'm happy with the draw, you know. I haven't played the best game. I did my best. And Vidit here, after repeating multiple times, can claim the draw and instead says bishop e1. Okay. Vidit thinks that he has better endgame chances. More active rook. Black has a bad pawn structure. He's not wrong. Bishop is better than knight in most endgames. Yeah, but when you enter a fist fight with one Arjun Erigaisi, you better get ready to get hit. He is like the Max Holloway of chess right now. He hits you, and he is not very susceptible to counterattacks, unless in the case of Taburia, but we're just going to forget about that fight because my heart was broken. Knight h5, g3. I mean, there is no way Arjun's going to get his king off the back. How's he going to do it? He's just repeating moves. Rook e7, he's kind of baiting Vidit. Look at this. He's like, Vidit, take my pawn. Take my pawn, Vidit. All right, I'll play defense. Bishop c. I mean, how are you going to defend yourself? You're going to lose something. King f8. Kicks out the rook. Rook a2 check. Constantly posing. Look at this defensive contortion. If you take, I take the bishop. It's back to a draw. He is messing around with Vidit. He's like, Vidit, I know, you know, and I know that you're better, but how do you break through here? Rook a5, rook c7. Vidit's like, how is this guy still putting up a defense? It looks like he's about to collapse. King goes back to c2. This is excellent technique from Vidit, but how's he going to break through? Bishop a3. Oh, there it is. There it is. But Vidit down to 155 on the clock. Arjun putting a lot of pressure on him. Rook c8, rook d8, rook f8. But how do you break it? Look at Arjun creating counterplay out of nowhere. It looks like he's supposed to lose all his pawns here. Knight a4, king c2. I mean, Vidit has Arjun backed into a corner, but this man is bobbing. He's weaving. He's throwing counters. You just can't get this man down. He's checking. He's attacking. It's winning, but Vidit has a minute. It's not that clear how to figure things out here. I think he has to run his rook over here, then reposition his bishop again. But Vidit rushes to take the pawn, and suddenly Arjun is back in the game. Now here comes his knight back to c4. King d1. Okay, this at least is easy. All the pawns are going to get traded, and we are going to probably be in a draw again. Vidit can repeat. He's not repeating, but all the pawns are going to fall off the... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What about this guy? Yeah, and Arjun locks the door. And all of a sudden, his one chance came on the 80... I repeat, Arjun Erigaisi was worse for 86 moves. On the 87th move, Vidit makes a mistake. And I just realized my camera's been frozen. Whoa. When did that happen? Well, that's kind of a blooper. This has never happened before. All right, I'm replugging in my camera. I look demented. I hope that didn't happen too recently. It's quite funny. We're gonna keep this because this is all the good stuff in the Gotham video. Deactivate. You know, I got a new PC and it's got this thing where the camera just freezes for some reason. I don't know how to fix it. I have absolutely no idea how to fix it. The old PC didn't. I might just go back to it. Anyway, we're back. I have no idea when that happened, but 86 moves Arjun was suffering, and now he has a better position. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And guess what? He marches down. Vidit absolutely can't move. And you know what's absolutely insane about this game? Arjun utilizes the only remaining pawn. He goes knight g3, and he wins the race to get this bishop out of the corner and to promote. Like, Arjun won this game. It doesn't even make sense how he won this game. He just stayed alive. And every good fighter just stays alive. Just keeps a way to keep the game going. Just finds a way. Keep the game going. And he beats Vidit. This game, he crossed 2,800. Okay? Then he played Alexis Serrana. Again, the man is a lunatic. He plays lunatic brand of chess. So this game, he played the Nimso Indian, fine, e3, and Serrana is one of the leading experts in this variation of the Nimso, where he like plays bishop d3, bishop d2. He often puts the knight here. I mean, Serrana really likes to invite the Nimso Indian when he plays white. So here, Erigaisi plays b6, which is definitely not the most common move. Bishop d3 played by Serrana, bishop b7, knight f3, and a very straightforward and kind of boring game, c5, and now this move, knight a4, right? Trying to say, well, your bishop waited too long to take, so now I'm going to attack it. Erigaisi opens up the path back for his bishop. a3 is played. The bishop goes to e7. We have ed4, and now queen c7, targeting the pawn, targeting over here. Erigaisi still kind of knows the position. This has all been played before several times. Not at this level of the game, but, you know, by some very good players. And now c5. Pawn takes, knight takes c5, pawn takes, and Erigaisi for a second game in a row. Just like he did against Vidit. You guys remember this game? This just happened. Just like he did against Vidit, he was like, hey, I'm going to be up a pawn. So here, he's up a pawn, and his opponent has the bishop pair. In the previous game, he was up a pawn, and his opponent had the bishop pair. Erigaisi dares his opponents to beat him. That's how he plays chess. A lot of people don't play like this. They just don't play like this. They do not want to invite any sort of issues. And, you know, I mean, look, I got to tell you, Serrana gets a nice position in this game. He's got the bishops. It was probably a little bit better to go that way. But Erigaisi's like, hey, beat me. Serrana's like with my fists or what? Knight e5. Erigaisi puts the bishop to trade off the bishop. Bishop c2. And yeah, I mean, Serrana's doing, you know, typical things. He's improving his position. But Erigaisi's up a pawn. He trades. Erigaisi puts the rook on c4. This has multiple ideas. Number one, it wants to slide over that way. Number two, he wants to double up and put pressure. Also, again, he's baiting his opponent to open up his king. There's absolutely no reason to play the move rook c4. You could also play knight to d7, but then the bishop, of course, goes back. Rook c4. Take, queen h5. This is the brand of chess that Eric Geisy likes to play. It is controlled chaos. Eric Geisy's like, I'm going to get mated. No, I'm not. I'm going to run my king. I'm running my king, and my king is going to go here. Now, if white takes this pawn, the h-pawn is just running. I mean, that is a scary sight in any endgame. You can't just leave the h-pawn to run on its own. Somebody has to monitor it, right? The bishop goes to b3. Now we're in a totally different type of game. There's no such thing as bishop pair here. Queen h7. I mean, it really looks like the black king is going to get brutalized. Because now if you run the king to the middle, I'm taking on d5 in all these lines. It's about to get really, really dangerous. So the rook goes to c8. Rook d1. Eric Geisy here rolls the dice. d4. He's worse. d4 is a crazy move. The bishop is coming in. I mean, how can you possibly, right? But rook e4 is the point. You have to play rook e4 here, and you need to go rook e4. Then Eric Geisy might have gone here. Rook f4 attacking the pawn, king e7. Queen g7, f5. And here you need to just play rook e1. And the pressure on the position is overwhelming. Black simply cannot defend being attacked from so many angles. And even then, it's not over. Like, white, black will go bishop d3, and that's kind of the end. And now the engine is saying after rook h4, it's completely winning because I mean, I don't know, man. Again, it's exactly what Anish Giri said. He plays a type of chess which is uncompromising, and it's very difficult for humans to beat him. Guess what? Mikhail Tal was the same way. h4. This is the thing that I was talking about, but it's a little bit too early because now d3. And suddenly black also is asking questions. h5. In comes the queen, which apparently is the wrong move because here white can give up this pawn, and there's like absurd tactics. b5, bishop b5. You sack the bishop because now the rook is not protected in some lines. And yeah, I mean, again, like if you disable all of the analysis, good luck navigating this position. But there is analysis. Serrano goes here, and guess what? Guess what? We've now invited Eric Geisy into our territory, and I don't think he has any plans of leaving. He's one of those guests that sits on the couch and doesn't know that his time is up in the house. I'm just saying. Some of you know people like that. Eric Geisy's like, yeah, actually, while you're at it, make me a cup of chai, all right? Bishop to a4. Rook down to c1, queen h6 check. Finally, the king has finished his journey, and there's nothing. And Arjun is outmaneuvering Serrano. The queen comes back to e3. But now we just trade, and we just put the queen on c1. And guess what? Look at this. You take my bishop, I take your bishop. But in the end, he who laughs last laughs best. And the pawn is simply queening. Nobody can stop it. And it's not even clear what Serrano did wrong. Because if we didn't have the engine, we wouldn't even know that Eric Geisy made any mistakes. Like, the human standpoint of this game is, he just turned it into a mess. He got his own passed pawn. Serrano had like one moment he could have put the rook on e4. Nobody even understands why. Nobody understands why this move is really important right now. Obviously, Serrano was also worried about some sort of back rank stuff and some counterplay. He's a human being. And Eric Geisy, it's not like his opponents are losing. He is beating these people. He's beating them. They're not just melting, but he puts some pressure and they just break. I mean, they just break. Serrano's an excellent player. And look, one more thing. When Eric Geisy played the move d4, he had 8 minutes versus 19. When this game ends, he has 8 minutes versus 2. This man did not think for the last 15 moves of this game. That's ridiculous. Most people here would panic with black. This man is the modern day Terminator. How he plays like this without barely even thinking. Serrano went down to a minute. How does that even happen? This dude beats you from worse positions. He beats you from complicated endgames. He beats you on the clock. He beats you with a stick. I mean, this game that just concluded a few hours ago at the time of recording this video, I was watching this game and I was waiting for it to finish because I needed to know if I was adding it to today's video, right? If he won this game, Eric Geisy, I would have added it to the video. Lo and behold, here we are. Boys and girls, this game doesn't even make sense how he won. It just doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, Just watch. He plays e4, e5. He's clearly not showing up to this game to play for a win, right? e4, e5. I mean, he's playing symmetrical. Knight f3, knight c6. Okay, Italian, all good. This is the first sign that the guy is up to something. Why? He's not castling. He's already telling you, I'm devious. I'm up to no good. The next thing when white stops the advancement on that side of the board is this. This is a bad sign. If you're playing an Italian, you know, and your opponent starts doing this, this is the equivalent of an Italian doing this to you at a dinner. All right, I've been in Italy a few times over the last couple of years, recently in August in Spilimbergo. When you are talking to an Italian and they go, like, this is, you know, some stuff's about to go down. All right, now he moves his bishop out of the center of the board, and there it is. This is what he's up to. Arjun Erigaisi is showing zero respect. He doesn't respect a single person. He is playing to take people's heads off. He is playing to make people uncomfortable, and not by kicking them under the table, not by not brushing his teeth and breathing on them. He plays on the board, and he's looking to take your soul. This dude is I wish I could play chess with this degree of controlled chaos. Like, he's my spirit animal almost, you know? Like, he's a dynamic player, take, and he just, look at this. I mean, what is bro even doing? But this is a real thing. This has, like, people play like this in these Italians. They leave the king in the middle and they do this, and somehow it's fine. Modern day computers are like, yep, totally fine. You can absolutely play like this. The bishop goes back to e2, and actually here, Erigaisi is just better from the opening if he just continues to march. Obviously, he didn't like something here. I don't know what he didn't like, but he can completely blow apart the position. This is a little counterintuitive considering you have a rook here, but again, in chess, you learn all the rules, like don't open the center when your king is in the center. Then you learn, actually, sometimes you can open the center when your king is in the center. But most people are just not strong enough yet to know when to do that. So, queen e7, and for the third game in a row that I'm showing you in this video, Arjun is doing some goofy stuff, bro. I mean, my man mid-game just went queen e7, queen f8, queen h6. His king is in the middle of the board. The computer is saying, oh, this is nonsense. I mean, I don't know how black can even play like this. Look, I mean, Tabatabe is like, honestly, I've been playing chess a long time. I really don't think I'm going to get mated. Like, Arjun, I don't know what you're doing. Take, defend. Like, what's happening, bro? You got nothing. And the best way to meet some of these kingside attacks is an attack on the other side of the board. Why? Because the dude is about to pour all his resources into attacking. There's nothing here. You can just go and set up shop, all right? Knight d7, c5. Now that might look like a giveaway. Pawn takes, knight c5. Yes, he's not going to take back, though. He's not going to take back. I mean, first of all, he might just run it down the middle. Second of all, he might just go on that, you know, queen b3, rook c1. Like, he might take this pawn. He might launch his own counterattack. When I woke up today and I saw this position, I was like, oh, I mean, Erigaisi's not going to win this. And then literally on the very next move, he went bishop h3, just completely sacrificing his bishop. I'm like, oh, I don't get it. Pawn takes. If queen takes, bishop f3, every square near the king is protected. The bishop goes to g. Like, where is the mate? Well, Erigaisi's like, I don't have to mate. Knight g6. In fact, take my pawn. Amin Tabatabe, for the moment, is straight up a bishop. He just has a whole extra bishop. No pawns. No pawns. And yet after knight f4, only black is better, because this is a devastating attack. How does Erigaisi play chess like this? If you and I played chess like this, we would have lost 10 moves ago. Queen e3, he takes the pawn on h3, and if you now play king up, this move seals the deal. You can't stop the infiltration. So now you need to go with me to an endgame. All right? You need to go with me to an endgame where you have a bishop and a knight for a rook. That's the balance. And black has an extra pawn. So it's rook and one pawn versus bishop and knight. That's 6-6. The material is equal. And objectively, again, if you watch Erigaisi's games with an engine, it tells you 0-0-0. All that means is it's in the balance and it's unclear. Both sides have winning chances. But here's the thing. In general, bishop and knight are better than a rook. However, bishop and knight get significantly worse when they don't have more teammates They get significantly worse when they don't coordinate with any pawns. So bishop and knight on an open board suck, because where do they go? They need support. The rook is the big bad wolf. The rook is going to obliterate everybody. Now, black should probably keep the rooks together. The only way that black can win this position is with multiple rooks on the board. By the way, are you listening? I'm teaching you so much right now. I understand I'm the clickbaity guy that yaps a lot, but like, you're learning a ton. And the person who controls the pawn breaks is the person that determines whether the game will be a draw or not. Black controls the major pawn break. Will the move f5 be good or not? Rook c3. When I saw that we were here, I was like, there is no way Erigaisi figures this out. I mean, I don't even know how he's supposed to win this position. White has more pieces. 2 knights, a bishop, and a rook. King f2, knight f8. He's maneuvering. Look at this. Tabatabai is knocking down that side of the board. He's going to win a pawn. I mean, once black starts losing pawns, all bets are off. Now, most people here would be too afraid to part with this pawn, because if they part with that pawn, white gets a passed pawn 3 squares from queening. Most people just go, this is not a risk that it's worth taking. Knight to f4. Erigaisi's like, take my pawn. I mean, do it. Look at the time. Remember, this is one of the best clock players in the world. Check. a6. The pawn is now 2 squares away from queening. Black is quickly running out of time. He's putting some pressure, but the knight is going to everything in white's position, is defending everything else. And now, f5. The final question mark. If you take the pawn, e4 attacks the knight. Guess what? The best move is a7, giving up the knight. Here, and white is surviving by the skin of his teeth. I mean, it's crazy you can take the knight, but then here, and probably the game is a draw. f5, the final question mark. We have seen this man pull so many rabbits out of so many hats that they're investigating him for why he owns so many rabbits. f5. Amin plays rook a7 check. The king goes back to f8. Amin gives a check. King g7. Amin gives a check. Erigaisi looks him in the face. And just like the computer from that British sitcom says no. Amin has 5 minutes to figure this out. The best move here for white is to play rook d7. That move doesn't even look like it makes any sense, because you're simply losing a pawn and this one is defended. But then bishop f1. And if the rook stays defending the pawn, knight c4. There is no check. Okay, self-explanatory. However, if you play rook to d7 and black plays f takes e4 and you have rook takes d6 check and then king g7, apparently it's a draw. It's not so obvious why, but apparently this position is equal. Tabatabai saw this position, was like, wait a minute, I'm pinned, I'm losing material, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to play bishop f1. Unfortunately, that does not stop. Pawn takes e4, the counterattack to the rook, and the rook slides along the second rank. Tabatabai thought he's in time for counterplay, his pawn is promoting. Arjun Erigaisi finds the only winning move, and he finds it immediately. If you subtract 30 seconds from 6:47, because they get 30 seconds every single move, he made that move with 6:17 on the clock, and on the previous move he had 6:28. This man made the winning move in 11 seconds. How did he even see that? How did he even see that? How did he see that? How? He knew the whole thing was going to happen. He knew. Rook c2. He didn't even... He spent a minute to play rook here and rook h3. That is ridiculous. That is unbelievable. And now it's too late. You get all the counterplay that you want. But now knight takes d6, and lost in the sea of complications was Amin Tabatabai, and the final dagger, the man after my own heart, Arjun Erigaisi, sacrificed the rook, and Amin Tabatabai resigns. He resigns because he's mated. He has to take the rook. Pawn takes e2 as a discover check. You have to stop promotion, rook d3. You have to stop promotion, rook d1, and the king is mated in several moves. This man, Arjun Erigaisi, is 2,809. He is 22 points away from Magnus Carlsen. He is higher rated than Fabiano Caruana and Hikaru Nakamura. This is nuts. This man is a demon right now, and he is coming after everybody. Crazy stuff. Americans, check out the chessboard at Walmart. Chessly Plus subscribers, Chessly 2.0 is on the way. Big things are happening, and they're really happening in the life of Arjun Erigaisi. Appreciate y'all. You know what to do. Get out of here.